I just remembered to record it. So,
Oh, yeah,
well,
man.
we've been
Well,
discussing our logo, and so you'd like to do that, yeah?
yeah,
Get
I'll be happy to do that. I'll get some ideas over to her and then see what she comes up with, and we'll pick one.
okay, very good. Yeah,
Or-
come up with like 3 or 4 suggestions, and we can vote on it. Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right, very good. Yeah.
Damn.
Um, I don't know. Are you able to share your screen at all?
I don't know. Let me try to. I'm on my phone, but it's working on my phone. I've got my computer up
Okay.
to where I can.
Because the reason I ask is I'd like you to show me what you spotted about um the apartments that I sent to you. The winds something trade winds.
Yeah, trade win.
Hmm.
One second. Let me see if I can email this link to myself again, and if I can join on my computer. Can I share my? Will it let me do that if I'm on a Chromebook?
Yeah, should do. Let's try it out. Let's learn, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
So
mind experimenting. See what
we'll
works.
get it. We'll get it figured out sooner or later. I promise.
Yeah.
I tell you what. Can you email me the link to this meeting,
The link to, yeah, I can.
and I'll just pull it because I've got it's working. Like the Wi-Fi is working well on everything. It would just get hateful on Zoom for some reason.
All right, just emailed it to you.
Okay. Okay. Join this meeting here. Join. This is where it was getting hateful on me last time. I'll show you. Might work. Fingers crossed.
Yep. Did you get a chance to watch that Cake 320?
I did. I'm about halfway through it right now. I've listened to it this morning on the road. Um,
Very good.
I like what they stand for. I really do. Um,
Hmm.
I like what they stand for. I don't know much about it. I haven't watched the whole video, but from what I've seen so far, I like what they stand for. But seems to be difficult to become an operator for them.
Well, I've already had 2 talks with them. Did you watch the webinar?
Yes, I was watching the webinar. Yes.
Okay. I thought it was amazing that that um, guy was named Graham, you know?
Yeah. Graham. What was the last name? Crane.
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 Crane. Yeah, yeah. And they put pastors in each of these units, in each of these complexes. So really
Yeah.
cool. And I was going to say the conversation I had on the phone, I told them that were the whole story,
Mhm.
and let me admit you, that we're in the large multifamily space. I told them about you, and he said there's 2 coaches that are in that space that we will be aligned with if we join the program. And
Gotcha. So
so
we joined the Kingdom program.
yeah, we would join the Kingdom program, and they essentially will be our sponsors. They have software that finds the deals and things. With the whole program is that you're gonna laugh at this. The whole program is $40,000.
Is it?
Yeah, but he suggested that we come in at the lower level to begin with for the first 6 months, because they said you can get some money going, get your feedback, and the lower level is 8,500 for 6 months, and they're all they don't let anybody in their program, so you have to be a Christian, and you have to be aligned with their values and plans and things like that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I would do is encourage you to go to their website and read the statements, see what you think about it. There's pages of it on their websites. Did you see that?
Yes, I didn't. I just briefly visited that.
Okay.
I haven't had time.
Yeah. And it's no big deal if you say no, that's we've got enough on
Right.
our plate or anything. I just wanted to
Well,
what
personally,
I've come across,
I like I like their approach to that. I mean, I would rather. I mean, I feel like at this point we would have to pick one or the other. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know which one would be best. I think the Kingdom group aligns with us a lot better than. I mean, yes, we want to make money, but at the end of the day, I still want to help. I want to help people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
And
and they do make lots of money. I mean, their
right.
biggest complex was 900 and something units,
Yes.
which is pretty amazing. I
That's a
haven't,
big deal. That's
I
a
haven't
big deal.
heard, I haven't heard those numbers. So they've got the track record. They're not strangers to the space,
Right.
being Kingdom thing, and also I really had some really good conversations with him. The first conversation I had, the guy recognized me.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, from a previous uh, program. I was in what was called the Christian Business Incubator program, which was
Mhm.
about lease options, probably several years back now.
Mhm.
And nobody did any good with that program. And
Right.
obviously, I didn't know he left. He left it, and then he joined the Kingdom 320. So
Gotcha.
so
Yeah,
he recognized my voice, I think, being
uh,
British,
that's right. Yeah, man.
So,
That's the
so we were off
trademark.
to a really good start, right? And then I had a really good second conversation. I could tell him a story, asked really good questions. I felt, it wasn't about selling. It was
Right.
more about finding out about each other and how we align. And and then he gives me this link to the training events where they worship. They have 600 or 700 come to these events and they're worshiping, and great speaker. And
I
then
like that.
and then part of the event, it's a 3-day event, I think, and you get free tickets as part of your enrollment. So
Hmm.
it's not extra money that you're spending on top, which every other program is.
Right.
Um, so it's included in your tuition. And
Gotcha.
and then you watch some of the webinar, you see the guy's name is Graham. I thought there's something going on here,
Yeah.
because first of all, I want to be aligned, and I'm sure you do. You know the Lord really well. I want to be aligned with Christian brothers and sisters that we can speak the kingdom language when we go
Right.
through this program, that we can pray together, that we're partnering with business people of the highest integrity,
Right.
their eyes on God.
Yes.
And I think it's a safer path, quite honestly, as well.
I I
You
do
know,
as well.
yeah,
And you've got to be you've got to be careful with when they present the Christian thing because some and I don't think these people are illegitimate. I think these people are legit, but some circles and some groups will push that, and you've got to be very very careful of that. I found
correct. Yeah,
right,
I've had
but
two programs, Christian programs, that have gone wrong like that. So I've got the experience there.
yeah.
One was Lee Arnold and that was a waste of time. He's just money grabbing, which is an awful shame for
See,
Christian.
I get emails from Lee Arnold, and I've talked to some of his representatives, but I've never invested with them or anything. I get his emails
Horrible.
all the time.
Horrible upsell and horrible pressure. The guy, that got me to sign up in here. He must have called me over 20 times.
Yeah,
It was really intense.
yeah,
So,
that
and then when I got in, there was no support whatsoever. None.
similar to multifamily.
Yeah, no networking. And then the Christian Business Incubator, the mentors, though, were the main fault. They hadn't even done a deal.
Well, yeah, you can't be a mentor if you.
So there was the blind leading the blind, and
Yep.
nobody got anywhere with that. And many afterwards, because I started filling in the gaps for them, I started leading a Zoom call, which was better attended than their Zoom calls.
Dang.
And I built up a reputation, and I think that's what Austin recognized me, because I was doing a lot of the training, not paid or anything, not even they're interested. I gave them tools as well. I had more knowledge than they did. And
Right.
I actually got a business partner out of that as well, because of what I was doing and everything.
Right.
People contacted me afterwards and wanted to sue them, but I wasn't about that, because that's not
Right.
scriptural. He says don't go to court and you don't sue your brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so anyway, I left that one. So yeah, I know all about that it can be wrong, but the signs are good on this one. Jeff, who started it, Jeff Lewinsky,
Mm-hmm.
um, he's actually a pastor, and he employs the pastors to live in these apartment complexes. They do changing oil for widows, and they do Bible studies, and they one of the metrics they look how many have been saved, because a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people in apartment complexes they don't actually go to church and church because they're
Right.
transient, people, and so
And that's what I like. I mean, if they're serious about spreading the word, which it's difficult to do that, being a landlord and having tenants traditional ways. But if they're serious about doing that, then I'm all for that. I mean,
yeah,
if I do my digging on them and the pastors are legit and everything is legit, then I
yeah,
don't see any issue with it. I mean, I really don't, because that's what I want to do, and that's one of my long term goals is to get enough money to where I can give back to people and
yeah,
fund the Christian ministry. You know what I mean?
right, right.
And,
And
and
they
we
also give so much percent of the tithe to various charities, including Tim Tebow. They fight against um, child trafficking and things like that.
yeah,
Uh,
I support all. Yeah, I support. I'd be glad to help donate with that. And
so
I'll continue to look into them, and
yeah,
we'll see what we think. And
yeah.
we'll.
That's
I've
all I'm
got.
asking you to do, because
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is a bit. I know things are overlapping. We got
right.
the millionaire mindset, which I'm almost sure I don't feel good about at all.
Nor do I.
Um,
I will. I'll tell you. I have a consultant that works for me,
yeah.
and he works for me across all businesses, and he's a tech. He's from New York originally, and he's a big tech guy. He's been very, very successful in the tech space and in the small real estate space. That's all he does is consult for people. And one of the things I told him about our new partners, and I told him about multifamily, and he helps me watch my back, and that's mainly his job is to help me watch my back and
That's
make the
good.
correct make the correct decisions. It costs me, but it's the best money I've ever spent.
Oh
And
wow, okay. Very good.
and so I asked him about the real estate AI to do some research into him, because he's very familiar with the AI space, and
Mm.
has contacts in that space and in hedge fund space and funds and stuff like that. So he's doing some digging throughout them
Oh
and seeing what
good.
he can find. So I told him, I said, any red flags, any questions you have, let me know, and Graham and I will relay that when we meet
Mm.
with him next. And he said
That's
he
very
will.
good.
So
Oh,
yeah,
that's really good. That's very good, Gunnar. Thank you for doing that.
yeah, man.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I
you
think
can do the same with the K320. That'd
I
be
will.
good. Yeah.
I think that, like I said, I pay him quite a bit, but that's the job, and it's worth it because if I pay him right now and he can spot something because he's extremely intelligent, if he can spot an issue somewhere and save me and you, if we
Mm.
get in bed, you know what I mean. If he can save us $80,000,
Oh, yeah.
40,000, whatever, I mean,
Yeah.
and that so that's he's got all kind. He's taught me a lot on what we can do. Like the first thing he does when he meets somebody is he finds out where their headquarters is, and he finds it on Google Maps.
Mm.
Looks at the headquarters, and then researches the area and stuff. Just
Right.
really deep dive. So we'll see what he says about the.
How did you come across him to
So I
begin with?
wanted to. I don't know if I've ever told. Have I told you about my attempt to acquire a concrete plant?
You started telling me at one point, yes, yes, and
So
it's a long process, and
yes,
you
it
didn't get
was.
you didn't get there, but you got most of the way or something. You raised the capital, and I
Yes,
think,
we had banks on board for what market value was. Banks were willing to loan up to I think it was 850 or 900,000, and the seller wanted 1.5 million. Well, the asset value was just a hair over a million,
mm,
and so they were willing to loan 8 to 900,000. And I had brought in a private investor for the down payment. It was around we estimated 300K just to raise. So I raised 300K, and then it's off commitments. Not no money was ever sent through, and the seller we offered them several different deals of seller finance and this, that, and the other, and they never would come off their purchase price of 1.5 million.
oh,
So we just terminated the deal because we're not that we would have shot ourselves in the foot.
yeah,
But yeah, so when I did that, I realized I needed when that deal came to me, I realized I'm gonna have to have some people that know a lot more than I do. So the
mm,
first thing I did is I went to the Small Business Association locally, and I sat down and I told him what I wanted to do. And he works there, and him and I sat down and talked, and I told him what we wanted to do. And his initial idea was no, 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 no. And but the more he looked at it, the more we worked through it. We decided, we came to a purchase price, and we worked through the entire acquisition process, him and I, and
mm.
I learned so much through that. It's not even funny, and I
That's
was so
great.
and I was so happy, and he's like a mentor as well. I was so happy with the results that I had got and the
Mm.
knowledge that he had taught me, and it's almost like school that I pay him for. You know what I mean?
Right, right, absolutely. Yeah.
And so I met him through that, and then we ended up renewing contracts, and I think we're going to continue to. I'll probably renew contracts with him for as long as I'm in business because he's a top notch guy. I mean, he's just top notch. He's a Christian man. He believes in the Lord. I mean, he's got a good family. Just a good
Fantastic.
man, good
That
man,
is wonderful, Gunnar.
and he's not prideful, at
Yeah.
all. And it's just one of the best men I've ever met in my life. I mean, it really
Oh,
is.
I
So
love that. I love
yeah,
that. Yeah, yeah. Because it's so easy to be financially ruined right out of the gate. And it's nice to have people on your side like that who can help
yes,
because you've got the drive and those who have the drive should be rewarded and not fall in the pit right away,
right,
And it's so easy to fall in the pit because
yeah,
when you're swimming in these waters, when you're dealing with millions of dollars, you have crime. And that's what I came across in the first book. You've read that, haven't you? Yeah, we
yeah,
need to talk about that a little bit as well, actually.
yes,
See
yes. I
what questions you have because there's a lot of lessons there which I want to pass on to you because I don't know how no one can tell the future, right? And it's nice that we got this relationship right now, but it may not be forever, right? At some
right.
point, and if it ever comes to a point where we decide not to continue as partnership, I want us to be still very good friends.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
and I believe we would. I do.
yeah. So
I believe
because
that.
I've treasured these moments with you. It's been fantastic.
As have I, and I've
Yeah,
you
yeah,
asked if you need to. I want you to meet my mother and father because I brag over one side and another of how appreciative I am that you just
yeah.
even have phone call, Zoom calls with me because that means I don't know how you might not know how much that means to me, but it means a tremendous amount. It really does, and I'm appreciative because, like I said, same with you and my consultant. When you guys reach down and help me out, I don't feel like I deserve it, but you guys do, and it's just so I'm just so appreciative. I really am. Even like I said, if we don't end up going in business together, just being around each other or
Mm.
if our partnership terminates or whatever, just being friends in business. And I'm sure we'll do deals together even if we decide not to, but I think we
That's
will.
right. Yeah.
I'm sure we'll end up making some
Yeah.
money
In
together.
fact, as you're speaking, I'm thinking about the oxen, and the plow.
Hmm.
They used to have two oxen on the plow, and you got a yoke, right?
Yep.
So
Go
you
the rest.
got one of the oxen, I believe, from what people have told me, is the senior, and the other's the junior, and the senior trains the junior, and the junior has to keep up.
Yep.
And vice versa, because you might
Yes.
have a junior wants to run ahead, and and it's the senior who sets the pace. So,
Yep.
and I bring that up because as you was talking, I was thinking we need to see if we're yoked
Right.
evenly as we move forward, because one might want to run ahead of the other, or we
Right.
might want to go in a slightly different direction or whatever. And
Right.
we haven't even written it down. I guess we haven't come to that point yet, but um, we'll come to a point where if we decide to move forward as a partnership, we need to write down a JV agreement.
Hmm.
So this is what it looks like. This is what success looks like. This is what failure looks like, and this is
Yeah.
how we would decide whether to continue or not. Because
Yes.
the last thing I want to do is a broken relationship or a
Right.
misunderstanding or anything like that.
Yes.
How
And
to
that's
how to resolve conflict if we get in an argument and things like that.
right.
That
And
will
that's
happen because
oh
it's
yeah, we
next to
will.
marriage,
It is.
a
It is.
business partnership. Yeah.
Yes, and
So
and you're right. If we do need to do that, we'll go through and we'll determine best case, worst case scenario, what happens then.
yeah,
And once we determine that way, we know, you know what I mean? And like you said, what success looks like and what failure looks like and how we'll deal with that at the time.
yeah.
Do
And
that.
we
And
haven't got there yet because we're still trying to formulate the way forward. Um, who do we align ourselves with? I've been on a journey, and you probably can tell from reading my book and the little I've told you about the courses I've been on. I've been searching for the right partners to network with. In real estate, it's about partnership. It's a team game, and you've got to figure out which team you want to be on, right?
yeah,
That you can run with and be a valuable member. So, as well as the partnership, we have to align ourselves on the right team. So, I don't think there's a shortage of teams out there. So,
oh no,
I'm not worried about when,
right,
but I think this process is so important. One of the things in the discussion we had with K320 was he says, I hope you don't mind me saying this, he said, but it really is important who you align with. And it was kind of a reminder to me.
hmm,
Yes, it is. And I think most of the mistakes I've made was going too fast in the past, not doing my due diligence. So you're
oh
bringing up this guy who watches your back. I think is amazing because that's a real good fit in
right. Well,
what
because
I
that's
am
my problem.
mentally. Yes.
That's my problem too, and that's what gets me in trouble. I rush into stuff.
Yeah.
That's what's got me in trouble, and I've realized that. And so now, literally every single, not every single small decision I make, but all big decisions for the construction company and the real estate company, I run by several. I run by him mainly because I run by my mother and father, but they're not business people, so they don't know as much necessarily on what's right and what's wrong in the business world
Hmm.
on what you should what path to take because they still have the consumer mindset, not the producer mindset. So they're going to be biased towards that. So I go outside to people who have, like I said, done what I want to do and ask them their opinion.
That's very good, and it's good you recognize that. Yeah, yeah, you're early in the game on that because people don't understand the two different mindsets, consumer or creative. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's difficult to if like it's difficult if people don't think like you think. You can't hardly do any business with them. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
my mother and father. They would be happy to do business and invest with me in any way, but we think so differently. And yes, I am a little bit more risky in my strategies, but I'm also so many years younger, and they've completed their goals so far. So we're gonna have different strategies, but that's why we don't go indirect on business together. That's something I've learned, but we help each other in every way possible. We just
Yeah.
do not go straight in together on business,
Hmm.
and that seems to work well.
Right, right. That's really cool. So,
And I've watched I've done some studies on families that have been in business together, and like I said, I believe in it's a foreign value that we have kind of strayed away from. That in families, you everybody teams together and uses their resources,
hmm,
and we've kind of quit doing that in America. And yes, that's still important. I believe that, but there's ways to do that without going in altogether.
yeah,
And if you watch, there's a documentary on the DuPont family. They're the wealthiest family in America. And if you go through watch the documentary on the DuPont family, it started as, you know, the whole family was in together, and then it got bigger, and then problems arose, and it got bigger, and more problems arose. And now today I don't know how they are today, but I know in the 1900s they didn't have anything to do with one another. They didn't want anything
mhm,
to do with one another because of the stress and the pressure of business. Because
mhm.
it's stressful and pressure, and
Right,
it
right.
really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, that's right. And that puts a lot of people off from including family. I
It
mean,
does.
thinking back to the classroom, with Eric's story, he talked about, he was dating his current wife, right? At
Yeah,
the time. So it was extreme risk asking his potential future father-in-law to go
to
into
do
business
that.
with him. He would have blown up his relationship, if it got
Yep,
wrong.
and
Uh,
it
that was very risky.
it was.
Yeah,
But that's the thing. That's kind of the old adage: if you burn the ship, you have no choice. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
That's the thing. Let me run this by you. What I was talking about on that trade wind apartments. If you'll pull that spreadsheet up,
yeah.
I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Okay,
At the bottom it says cover and it says property.
hang on.
Gotcha.
Uh, is it on the cover or the property? Which tab is it on the bottom?
The property tab.
All right, okay. On the bottom, yeah,
See where it says T3 annualized,
yeah.
and then it says effective gross income is 0, and then operating expenses is they're the same, and I don't understand why that is.
Oh, that's because this is a terrible investment, quite frankly.
That's what I was thinking. It looks
It's
negative.
well, it is because the third tab is pro forma. Now,
Hmm.
if you look at the pro forma, what's the glaring error on this one?
1 second, I'll check her out. There's a bunch of vacancy for one. The net operating income, total operating expenses. The expenses are really, really low. I don't believe that. 5% expenses.
Exactly. That's what it is. It should be 45. So
Yeah.
that's false. And then on the the rent roll,
Hmm. I counted I can't remember if it was 30 or some units that were vacant.
oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, that's too much vacancy. Way
Terrible. And then the T12, the next tab.
without tax. See, this is where I got into it, and it didn't make much sense because
It
they were
doesn't
showing, yeah,
column G doesn't make any sense to me. If you go scroll to 123, net operating income, and
yes,
on
104.
G,
Yeah, 104.
no, 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 G, that's F. The next column over.
Oh, mine must be structured differently.
All right, okay. The next one's 19,324 net
Yeah,
operating income. Do you see that?
Yes.
way low. Now, if you scroll up on that column, scroll up,
Okay.
and you see, where is it?
$38 for maintenance and repairs.
I don't know what they did to make it 19. There was some big debt service or something. I thought I saw this was like 64. There it is. Line 15, 74,000. Some bad,
Line.
and it's called bad debt.
Yeah, that's what's 74,000. Yeah.
That would be a question. Why is that bad debt? What is that? What,
Yeah.
what's bad
Credit.
debt? Yeah.
I don't really know what bad debt would be on a multifamily property. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a generic term, and they should specify what that 74,000 is, because that's a huge loss.
Yeah. And there's
Uh,
holes all in this. I mean,
yeah,
and the numbers just don't make sense at all.
right. Well, I
And then,
thought I'd still show you because this got sent to me, and I thought, what a mess.
yeah, I'm glad you sent it to me because that was my first. I was looking at it last night and I was like, well, I don't know.
It's a good example of a mess, isn't
It is.
it?
And you can tell, like, and, not hating on whoever put this together, but 95, all the other offering memorandums we looked at look a lot more professional than this. This doesn't look professional at all.
Right.
I mean, even though that if the numbers were correct, yeah, you've got the information you need, but it's not professional. I mean, they've got one picture of well, no, they don't. They've got additional photos, but yeah, and yeah, I don't, something's up here.
Yeah. Oh,
Road.
that's interesting. Yeah, so we're running out of time already, but
It goes so fast. What does the premium Zoom cost?
I don't know. I don't know what it costs. I don't need it though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, and you can't start another one right away. You have to wait 10 minutes, but we
So,
can, yeah. So it's not long,
right.
but yeah. So other things we could, um, I'm curious about your number one question about the book. I know it's a very brief book, so did you have any questions?
I did. I need to reread it. I read it about a week and a half ago,
Hmm.
and I read another book since. I'll reread it this weekend, and Monday we'll set up a Zoom to solely discuss the book.
Yeah,
That
because
sound
it
good?
was, yeah, the book was kind of my first like experiment. I mean, I've written something before, but it was a total waste. But this one was, an experiment as well.
Right. Well, I applaud you to be
Mhm.
able to write a book on your failures to help other people because that takes a strong man to do that.
Yeah.
And that shows wwho you are as a person right there.
Mm, mm.
That shows who you are. And I showed my mom and dad, and I told them, I said, y'all need to read this book. And
Yeah.
I read some of the stuff, and they're like, yeah, this is a good man right here because it is. I mean, it takes a good man to
Thank
be
you.
willing to write a book on his failures to help people,
Yeah.
and that's I mean that's a sign of a good man. I ain't no other way to put it.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate
Yes,
that.
sir. And I'm yes, sir. But yeah, I'll read it again, and I'll
Okay.
go through and I'll write my little questions down
It'll
because
be good because it'll stir us both up and it'll help us with the mindsets as well going into any new deals and situations. I mean, the first hedge that we've already talked about is who do we align ourselves with? It's going to cost
right,
money whoever we align ourselves with. So we want to be wise in that, in
is an
that step
investment.
that we take. So
Yeah. And that's
I,
that was one of the key takeaways I took away from your book was vet the people that you're going in and do extreme due diligence and then vet the people that you're in with. That were
yeah.
that were the key takeaways that I came
I think
And
that's one of mine as well. If I went back in the time machine, talked to my younger self, I said, do not go into business with that guy Scott,
yep,
because he'll lead you down the wrong path. And it was such a shame because I think now if I still had that 5 and 24 unit before I got the Lindsay apartments, I would have still been in business because that led me down the wrong path. So it's a bad business connection, you see.
yeah,
And
yeah, and the growing a little quick, but that was only. I mean, and I don't like talk about it because I don't like talk about your failures. You know what I mean? But
oh no,
you know,
no, that's fine. Like you have full permission to do. That's the whole idea to learn
I,
from them, you
but
see.
that was I took away from that too was don't over leverage yourself. Get one stabilized to where it's cash flowing so you can rely on it before
Right.
you go get another one.
And Zaffa told me that after I bought the fiveplex. He said, "No, don't grow too fast." He saw that was gunning for the, every apartment out there and had that drive.
Yep.
And he said, "Be careful you don't grow too fast." So that is a very good takeaway. You've already got it, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're about to be
Are we?
2 minutes, but yeah,
Well,
that's a
yeah,
good start. I mean,
it is.
we'll leave that for more discussion because it is good and it'll help us form the JV agreement. What does success look like? And you
Mm.
write it down, and what does failure look like? And we write it down, and so that way, when we will both recognize either one and know
We
how to
need
forward, how
right.
to navigate through this,
Yes.
and
Yes, and I agree.
so
I'll
the
we'll
book
look
will
into
be
some J. Go
yeah.
ahead.
I was just saying the book will give us that foundation understanding. Yeah.
Of knowing what we want to do. Real quick before we go, the Alabama property, I've done rough numbers on it. I haven't done any deep numbers. Do you are you still interested in it?
Yeah, we'll definitely underwrite that one. We're gonna underwrite everything that comes across our desk. It's all good practice and
Yeah,
pick out what's bad and what's good and what makes sense and what doesn't.
that sounds good. Well, we'll get on it then.
Yeah, very good. All right. And come up
We'll,
with the logo. Very don't spend a lot of time on that, right? Then we can
we'll do
start
it.
branding ourselves. Yeah.
Well, I'll get on it. I
All
look
right.
forward to it. I'll talk to you Monday.
All right, Gunnar. God bless you. Bye
You
bye.
as well.